And welcome to another week of Libertarians at Large. My name is Eric Rodsep, and this is where we discuss the week in news and express a libertarian point of view of the ongoings in our nation and the world. We welcome your comments and questions in the chat box, so feel free to comment regularly. We may share your comment on the air. This week, I am joined by my fellow at-large members, Laura Ebke and Valerie Sarwark. How are you doing?
Good. Hi, Eric.
Hey.
Hi, Val.
Hi.
And this week, our special guest is Brent DeRidder from the Coalition of Libertarian Disaster Relief. Brent, I can't hear you. Are you having some microphone problems?
Uh-oh.
No. Oh, no. We're having some mic issues all of a sudden.
Just write everything down.
Difficulties. Oh, no.
Write it down and hold it up. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, right? I mean, you're unmuted, so we should be able to hear you. Oh, no.
Does it have the right mic? Is it reading from the right mic? Well, this is.
I know this is awkward. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, welcome, Brent.
So, well, I hope we can figure out your technical issues, but I'm going to put you into the backstage. Hopefully, we can get that all resolved. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. So, yeah, that's unfortunate because Brent's an amazing activist for the Libertarian Party. I can't wait to have him on the air and functioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. If you are not aware, let me. I do want to definitely give him a plug here. Would help if I had the right keyboard in front of me. You don't understand the technical setup that I have on my desk for work and for this and then for just regular usage. I've got 3 keyboards and sometimes it gets a little crazy.
I just have a Chromebook.
I only have one keyboard. I have multiple screens, but only one.
I can't do that. Nick has multiple screens and the camera's on one, but you're watching, like if you do a live stream, you're watching on the other thing. So you're constantly looking at this, but how do you do that?
Yeah, I've got 3 screens, 2 computers, 3 keyboards. It gets a little confusing sometimes. And I keep it together usually, which is really important.
Long glasses. Okay, so Tom Mann says aisles 4, caps 2 after first period. Take that, Sarwark.
It'll go into double overtime and we'll win, so it's fine.
Okay. Is that
hockey?
Hockey? Okay. See, I get it.
But while Brent is getting ready behind the scenes, I just wanted to put his Facebook page up there, and that's the Liberty Coalition Disaster Relief Fund. A phenomenal organization. It's done a lot with the hurricanes that have hit up and down the East Coast. There was also some activity in Texas. So I mean, they're all over, and it's really the community coming together. And I think we're good to go here. Brent, are we good?
He's like, no.
Okay. He was giving me the thumbs up for
giving his
and talking about how they're all around the country and everything. So and I see that we've changed camera angles, so hopefully we're good to go now. Oh no. I'm getting punchy here. I apologize.
Live TV, man.
I know, right? It's the craziness of live television.
Okay, now Eric, I saw that you did. Valerie, did you get in on the comrade stuff on the public list today?
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun with the April Fool's joke going on. So yes,
It was funny. It was entertaining, but I always am the one who like does the last, just says the last thing and then nobody responds, and so I didn't want to be that person today.
I was having more fun coming up with titles than anything else. Like, one of the titles I came up with was Member at Large, Receiver of the High Elevated Order of the Golden Torch, Defender of the Equality of those below. And it was, just one of those everyone is equal, but some people are more equal than others kind of. But hey, it was all in good fun for April Fools, so that was good. I see. I think Brent is good. Brent, are you good? We're good. Okay. How are you doing, Brent?
I'm doing great. Can you?
Oh my
hear
God,
me?
we can't hear
Yeah.
you.
Yay,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
How are you guys?
Okay,
Oh, good stuff.
that wasn't embarrassing at all,
Oh no, not at all. But hey, welcome to live television, right?
right? Yeah, that's great. You would think it was my first time doing this, but that's why we have those Brent DeRidder as a boomer groups. So
Yeah. Well, did you see Michelle's comment?
I did not.
Michelle McCutcheon says, Brad, it's like the Brent the Boomer jokes write themselves.
Man. Yeah. I'll never shake that. It's not true, but I'll never shake it.
You're
Sorry.
younger
Thanks
than
for
I
having
am.
me on. How are you guys?
Good.
Thanks for joining us.
So I tried giving you a little bit of a pitch there. Do you kind of want to go into a little bit more into what the Liberty Coalition for Disaster Relief is all about?
Yeah, sure. So we were formed during one of the hurricanes that was hitting Texas when they were getting hit back to back, and I believe it was Harvey. And my daughter was 12 at the time, and suggested that she wanted to do something for hurricane victims, and she thought it was really important that I get with my libertarian friends, as she put it, or my liberty friends, to do what we thought would end up being maybe a fundraiser or a small fundraiser, or really we were more steering toward like a canned food drive. And liberty advocates went nuts for it, and it was kind of across the aisle, anybody that happened to be in our circle. And obviously we filed some paperwork, and we're nonprofit now, but do the pie challenge against this. Now I don't think I will. But yeah, we started working with liberty advocates across the country, and we had some folks donate a lot of stuff. We had a lot of folks donate some money, and then we actually had people going out and doing water rescues. And I would love to take credit for that. Everybody always wants to give me credit for that, but it was just a lot of voluntary action from across the country, and they just happened to be using our channels to organize it. So yeah, we had folks doing water rescues and having to go around roadblocks to get into places where government officials were not allowing rescues to happen. And yeah.
Very cool.
It was fun. It was very exciting.
Have you noticed? Okay, so Brent, you mentioned that your daughter mentioned your Liberty friends. Have you noticed that people don't really know what to call your other libertarians? So it's always, are these some of your Liberty friends, or are these some of your libertarian? I mean, it's very awkward.
I won't tell you what the other kids call you guys, but the North Carolina chair, Joe Garcia, gets it all the time from his kids too. It's this weird Liberty people. What are we doing with those weird Liberty people this weekend? And yeah, my daughter, my oldest, who is now 16, is now one of those weird Liberty people with weird Liberty friends. So
yeah, once it sort of sinks in, and they get appropriately acclimated to the people, it works out. But yeah, I mean, I've had that with my kids and other people's kids. It's like, is this like a liberty thing? I mean, they don't really know what that is, but they just hear the word.
My kids, when they were little, thought that anybody who was like a little bit big and had a beard was a libertarian. I'm not even kidding.
That's super accurate, though.
So there's another project you've got going on. The
There is.
houseboat. And
Yeah.
the tour for liberty that you're going to take that up and down and around the United States. So tell us about that. That's amazing.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah, so that's actually part of a larger project which I've started launching this week, and you can find both of those on social media right now. So if you go to Facebook at We Sell Liberty, you'll find my newest project, which is Sell Liberty, and Drifting Liberty, which is part of that project. And the idea is, I am one of, used to be a few, but we have a lot of marketing professionals and sales professionals, people who have experience now in outreach. And that used to not be the case. This used to be a social club where we all sat around and debated politics, and we were all parliamentarians, and it was fun. It was nerdy, ridiculous fun, but we weren't having the impact that we could have. And I saw that. That was one of the first things that I noticed when I got really involved with the party. I knew the movement kind of had that issue, but the party specifically wasn't doing a great job at outreach. And I thought that, and not to say we weren't trying, but I thought that, sales and marketing tactics certainly apply to political outreach. And now I am one of many, many people who believe that and are trying to better the message. So my job used to be that I trained salespeople to go out into the world and sell products, and now my goal is to teach libertarians how to go out into the world and sell libertarianism. So part of that is the Sell Liberty project, and part of that project is Drifting Liberty, where I am loading my wife and 4 children, because I am an absolute lunatic. I'm loading my wife and 4 kids onto a almost 50-foot houseboat, and we're going to do a lot of liberty outreach here. And once the boat's ready, and we're a ways away, but once the boat's ready and things are functioning properly and we're living aboard, we'll be traveling the Great Loop, which is we'll go up the eastern seaboard and then across the Great Lakes and then down, the Ohio and the Mississippi River into the Gulf, and then from the Gulf across Florida and back up home to North Carolina. And all along the way, we'll be doing events and having speaking events and doing functions with affiliates with their communities and doing training sessions and stuff like that. So that's it in a nutshell, a very large nutshell.
Yeah, but okay, so somebody here, okay, Robert asked a question, since you're the messaging guy here, right? What sets libertarians apart from Republicans and Democrats? How do you message the libertarian message to Republicans and Democrats so that they'll vote for us? Mm-hmm. And how do you identify what the difference is between libertarians and Republicans or libertarians and Democrats?
Well, so, we all know what the difference is. And
we do, yeah.
Right. The difference obviously is the non-aggression principle and our approach to getting our ideas heard. And I think that we get caught up in having our ideas heard more than we have, even for a boomer. Thanks, Jared. But we get too caught up in having that message heard, and we don't focus as much on how to have it heard and how to present the message. So it's a great question. You know what people care about, right? You hear it in your community, and some people care about healthcare, and some people care about gun rights, and some people care about keeping their community safe, and some people care about libraries, and literally everybody but a libertarian cares about the roads, right? But we care about all those things, right? So it's all about meeting people at that common ground. It's not about the message that you want to deliver. It's about the message that they're able to hear. So when I'm talking to somebody that's really, if LGBTQ rights are really important to them, I'm not talking about gun control. I'm certainly not talking about economics, which is our biggest downfall in messaging, is that people go, "What's libertarianism?" And then we go, "Read this super thick economics book and then some Bastiat, and come on, guys, like that's not. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody but us nerds, and that's great for us, and it's fun. But nobody but us nerds cares about that stuff. What they care about is their library, and how are libertarians going to fund the library? Well, we don't want government to fund the library because the library is a great resource, and we want everybody to have that resource. So we want to privately fund it. And oh, by the way, here's some numbers that back up the idea that privately funded organizations like that do significantly better than government funded organizations, not just in funding, but in management, right? And it's just about meeting people with the right ideas. So if I was talking to somebody who said it's really it's really important to me, I vote Democrat because I'm a gay man. Well, okay, we way before the Democrats cared about you having equal rights, we cared about you having equal rights, and we still do. Yep. Right? And that's it. I mean, just meet people where they already are.
So it sounds to me like what you're saying is we as libertarians need to listen more and talk less, maybe?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's literally the first lesson when I was doing sales training courses, and my wife will tell you there are not a lot of things that I'm good at. Sales is definitely one of them. And that was the first thing I always taught my trainees was shut up. Stop talking. You will talk your way through a sale. You'll talk just like a libertarian can talk their way through winning an argument. I mean, we'll talk ourselves right out of it. Mm-hmm. Just shut up, hear what people have to say, and be empathetic with that, and move on from there.
And I do think, I'm sorry, Eric, I'm hogging things up here. But I think sometimes if we would listen a little bit more and think before we engage our mouths, we would be able to put other people's concerns into a libertarian context without having them feel like we are preaching or lecturing or whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we tend to be verbose. I mean, I tend to be verbose, and we do lecture people, and we got to hear where they are.
Yeah, and ask questions. That's I've been doing fundraising calls for national, and it's hard for me to ask questions because I'm a little bit awkward on cold calls. And so I'm like, hey, how's Texas? Right. And it's like, what do you mean, lady? What do you want to know? And so I've been working on that, but I have no formal sales training. So, but asking questions, it allows people to talk about themselves, and everybody likes to talk about themselves. Like we're in a group of people that loves to talk about themselves. So if we can put the focus on letting other people talk to us about them, then yeah, we definitely can do that. Meet everybody in the middle. Yeah. I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, we're talking about solutions in our party that none of the other parties are talking about. And when they do, they pick up our issues that we've been talking about for 30 years. So it's amazing. We're always radical. We're always on the cutting edge of where American politics is going. But it's one of the things that absolutely amazes me. I was having a conversation just the other day. You were talking about LGBTQ or GSM rights and how we've been advocating for those since the 70s and trans rights since the 80s. But one of the big conversations that's now coming up in certain corners of the Libertarian Party is redefining adoption law, because adoptions are remarkably more expensive for LGBTQ or GSM individuals, and that's a very important aspect. But libertarians are the only ones who are having that conversation right now. Mm-hmm. And there's 1,000,001 other specialty or niche issues around the political spectrum that the libertarians are the first ones that are talking about it.
Yeah.
We are always on the forefront of political discussion and political change. We just our only problem is getting that point across to the masses. I mean, that's it, without being jerks and hitting them with thick literature. That's the only issue we have.
We've been talking about police brutality and revising the police code since 1996. on the same weekend that Rodney King happened,
Mhm.
and we've been talking about it ever since, but this is only now mainline since George Floyd, which is really unfortunate. Because if the mainline parties allow us at the table and we can start having these national conversations 20 years before it blows up in everyone's face, we can save so much heartache, so much loss of life, so much of the inequality of existence that we see. We can cut the corner off before it really gets too far. It's that's one of the things that frustrates me about being a libertarian and being so passionate about these issues, is that you see us talking about it. We've identified the issue 20 years before anyone else does, and it doesn't change. Not yet, but it's starting to. I mean, you see us getting into more and more state legislatures. It's turning. The ship is finally turning, which I'm so happy to see.
I mean, how many states have legalized marijuana and even more other drugs? And 10 years ago, we're all like, "Hey, legalize cocaine," and they're like, "Oh, losers, look at you!" And it's everything.
1972. That's how long we've been talking about ending the drug war.
Yeah. 40 years later, right? Wait, 50?
49. Yeah.
The 90s were like 10 years ago. So.
I'm there with you. I'm totally there with you.
Yeah.
I'm totally still in the 90s. But yeah, I mean, we're like you said, we're always on the forefront, and it's just getting that message heard, and it's where can you grab the stage, right? You were talking about if they let us sit at the table, and they're not going to. That's not how the duopoly works. They don't want us to sit at the table. There's a reason that they don't want us to sit at the table. It's because our ideas are better than theirs. Yeah. They know that we're on the forefront of this change, and they don't want to lose power. And where you can grab that is locally, and you can do it certainly by getting elected. There are several states that have done really well getting libertarians elected and running successful campaigns, and they do that by A, good marketing, and B, focusing on campaigns, or maybe switch those up, maybe reverse those, but B, focusing on campaigns that are winnable, or races that are winnable. But you can do that without running a campaign. And if you've got a small affiliate, and I've tried to do this in North Carolina, really implement this idea or get it across. If you've got a small affiliate, you don't need to have a libertarian running. If you've got 3 people that are in your affiliate, you don't need a candidate, a manager, and a treasurer. What you need are 3 people out doing work in the community, engaging in community meetings and doing positive, voluntary, charitable work in their community, and letting people know that that's what libertarians are about, so that you grow that group of 2 or 3 hardcore radical libertarians into a community of people that are, able to take on bigger projects like campaigns and actually winning an office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you're right. When I said the libertarians allowed at the table, it's not going to be by the parties. It's going to be
I knew what you meant.
It's going to be by the voter.
Yeah.
And that right. was my intent. And I apologize that didn't come out.
No, it was obvious. I was just using that to piggyback my point.
But I do think you raise a really good point that that our best opportunities are locally right now, because we can, because it will be tougher. This is the political scientist in me saying this, but it's going to be a lot tougher to routinely get people elected to federal office or to the to the presidency, certainly, and even to the governorship. I mean, it's just a matter of numbers, and so we need to build that bench. And have people who get a great reputation for for being efficient and well-meaning and good folks in government, and let people know that libertarians are able to they're not all ready to burn the house down on day one, and that they can be responsible. And so I think that's important for us if we want to win higher offices. And certainly we do, because there's not a lot of changes we can make short of revolution unless we can have an impact on the political system.
I mean, and there's ways to have non-election victories, like when you go and you're running against somebody who, and maybe you're only going to get 4%, but that's a message to whoever wins that you got that 4%. They need to work for those 4%. And what did you say to get those 4%? And why didn't they vote for X or Y? And that will. I watched that happen in Phoenix when Nick ran for mayor. All of the candidates were saying, yes, we want sports subsidies. And he was the only one that was saying that. And by the end of all the debates and everything, the lady who ended up winning, who is currently the mayor of Phoenix, spoke out against the subsidies for the stadium. And, she stole his idea, right? But that's what you have to do. But that changed the dynamic of the rest of the race, because she took that good idea. And, that's not a victory for a libertarian, but it is taking a libertarian idea. Yes. So it's a small victory.
It shift the metric. I'm tired of it having to be that we win some kind of major office or even a small local office. A victory is getting the message out there, right? And if it's out there enough that the Republicans and Democrats start stealing our ideas, well, if they steal enough of our ideas, they'll be libertarians. I'm good with that. We need to stop wanting to be the big fish and let's try to convert all the other fish. Like that's all we got to do, right? And it doesn't even have to be this milquetoast messaging. You can present radical libertarian ideas in a way that's palatable to the average person. All of our ideas are hard to argue against. We just have to present those, radical libertarian ideas in a way that people can appreciate. It's really not that hard.
And it's the presentation, though, that trips us up, I think, a lot of times. I always told people that when I was knocking on doors, people could ask me questions about things that they really, they thought that they had a misconception about what the Libertarian Party believed, right? And they were things that were not easy to explain in a mailer. But if I could have 30 minutes at the door talking to people, it's like, oh yeah, I kind of get that. So I mean, I think that we have to learn to talk to people, and to get what they're interested in, and to get how to make our ideas, like you said, Brent, palatable. It doesn't mean that we're watering the message down. It means that we are adapting the message to the people that we're talking to.
Certainly.
Sorry, go on, Brent.
Oh, no, go ahead.
But winning isn't just about winning elections. It's winning the conversation. And Jared Hall brings up a great point. Winning, having reporters ask the executive director of the Indiana GOP why libertarian support is growing, and if it's a reason to be alarmed. That's a win too. That's huge, because now we are becoming an official and recognized part of the American political landscape, and they can't ignore us anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge win. That question was asked publicly.
Yeah.
People read it, and that's a big deal. I mean,
that's great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. These pound the pavement events that we were doing in North Carolina, those are wins. We were going out and talking to people. We were getting bigger names, or we were getting, contacts, bigger groups of contacts for college campuses. And Laura was talking about door knocking earlier, and we were doing a lot of that in Wilmington, going and banging on doors, and specifically in low income and minority neighborhoods where people were just amazed that a politician happened to be there. They were like, I've never had a politician knock on my door. We don't get mailers here. They don't, they don't call us when they're doing their calls. We're ignored. Those are the communities that we can really have an impact in. Those are people that you can really meet. And certainly we should try to, meet everybody, meet, current voters, and go out and pull Republicans and Democrats. But there are tons of voters that are just unengaged and nobody pays attention. And if we can mobilize those people, if we could have them on our team, we can have a huge impact.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I was lucky enough to actually take part in the Pound the Pavement in Wilmington, and then Durham and Wake did our own Pound the Pavement in some of the housing projects in Durham. So that was
that's
a
awesome.
cool thing. So I mean, it really does. It makes a difference, and you're right. Those comments are standard whenever you go into those communities. Is they're taken back that someone actually is talking to them about the issues. How does it affect them? The fact that you're there, you actually care, you're engaging them in conversation, makes the difference of the world. It truly does.
It does. And in those areas, especially low income areas, our message has a huge impact. I mean, look, I want to end the drug war. Everybody loves that idea there. I mean, I got zero pushback on that idea. We were out with Spike Cohen. I know you remember Wilmington. It was a blast. We had Jacob Hornberger there.
Yep. We
were talking about decriminalization. We were talking about ending occupational licensing, which is a big deal. That was all of these Jim Crow era laws that people are unaware sprang from that era. It impacts those communities the most. The idea that you have to get a license to do hair, the idea that you shouldn't be able to sell marijuana.
Yep.
It's community policing. They love the idea of community policing in low income neighborhoods where police tend to hang out and make
that
their
or the
quotas.
police take so long to respond to something that self-defense issues become a huge topic of conversation, because they know that they are going to be the ones who have to defend themselves, because no one's coming to their aid if someone breaks into their house. Or it's going to be so ridiculously long that the damage will be too far gone before anything could be done. So, and that's why self-defense laws or 2A laws are so warmly welcomed in a lot of the low-income housing communities, because they are the ones who have to defend themselves.
Two things. There are a whole bunch of really deep questions in the comments that we can't possibly deal with. But for anybody who's interested, any of us on the LNC, anyhow, I'm not going to volunteer Brent, but the rest of us would be more than happy to engage in a conversation, email conversation or whatever. So it's just our email addresses are just first name dot last name at lp.org. I don't have my last name up here, but it's Ebke, EBKE. So feel free to contact us, and we're certainly willing to have an extended conversation for questions. Second, what time is it?
Ooh, it's 8:34. It's time for the New York Times News Quiz.
I hope you study, Brent. We're terrible at this.
Oh God, there's a quiz?
There's a quiz.
I should have paid more attention when Eric sent me the message.
So every single week we do the New York Times News Quiz, and we see how we stack up against everyone around the country. We have each other, and we have our amazing audience that also helps us. So we do ask for a lifeline every once in a while. Quiz question number 1 is: last September, Ellen DeGeneres apologized after reports of her show's toxic workplace. Over the last 6 months, how have ratings been for this reliable daytime hit? Less than 1 million viewers were lost. More than 1 million viewers were lost. Viewership remained the same. Viewership rose by more than 1 million viewers, or viewership rose then returned to normal.
What?
I imagine it rose and returned to normal.
I think it rose because everybody's been stuck in their house, and so they're watching more TV. Unpopular opinion: I am not a fan of hers, and I never was. And it's not. I don't think she's that funny. And I know I'm going to probably get hate mail about this, but
so Mac is saying that it's more than 1 million viewers were lost. Darby's
So
also
Darby.
saying more than 1 million viewers were lost. So everyone,
I have no idea. I don't watch daytime TV. I know.
yeah,
I mean,
neither do I.
I know that she exists, but
Yeah.
beyond that, aside from an occasional YouTube video, I don't have a clue. Jared
man,
says
my
1 million lost.
16-year-old is, I'm sure, feverishly writing an angry letter to you and Miss Sorwork.
I also don't like pickles.
Okay, now that's just wrong.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I
Unpopular.
mean, we could both, Brent and I come from North Carolina, and Mount Olive. I mean, that's pickle land right there.
I like their olives.
Well, okay, that's a start. That's a start. But everyone in the chat comments is saying more than 1 million viewers lost.
Yeah, do it.
So,
We're no longer friends.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
more than 1 million viewers
Woo,
lost.
there we go.
And
Wow.
this is actually something, and I didn't know the answer, and I'm glad we got it right. But thanks to all of our viewers. But this is how the free market works.
Mm-hmm.
She employs a toxic workplace. People chose with their viewership, and they left. And now she's going to have to suffer the consequences because of this. This is why the free market works.
Yes.
This is what we talk about, not only economically, but even in every aspect of our lives.
Amen.
I try to bring everything back to a libertarian
That's
view.
important.
Good job.
It's power.
This chart shows the rate of gun ownership and
There we
death from gun violence in several wealthy countries. Which dot represents the United States? A, B, C, D, or E. Now, this is also important to understand that gun deaths comprise suicides, homicides, and accidents. Data is from 2017.
Does it say? Did it say? Oh no, you said suicides too. I thought it said violent deaths. Okay, it's got to be A then, right?
I'm agreeing. I would say it's A.
New York Times wouldn't put it there if it wasn't, would they?
Yeah, right.
No, I'm going A.
Yeah, it is A. I'm interested to see what B, C, D, and E are. So it's A. United States has the highest rates of gun ownership and deaths of any rich nation. It also it's also the one where mass shootings like the one in Atlanta, Boulder, Colorado this month regularly occur. The other countries are Canada, Germany, Russia, and Japan. Now, I've done research on this in the past. And I know Canada and Germany. I don't know about Russia. And then Japan is actually like the United States. Canada and Germany, if you commit suicide, it's put down as suicide, and that's it. There is no information about how you committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that this includes suicides, homicides, and accidents, that would only be reflected in Japan and in the United States. Maybe Russia. I don't know off the top of my head, but I do know Canada and Germany. They have a privacy act for anybody who commits suicide, and the methodology of suicide is not listed. It's not even tracked.
I feel like they should take out the self-defense ones too. If somebody breaks into my house, I will kill them, but I'm not actively trying to murder anybody.
No. I mean, I'm a gun owner. I have never killed anyone outside of my time in the armed forces, and never plan on it.
No, I hope I never have to do that. I mean, I would, but.
Yeah. So
Come on,
I'm like the only libertarian I know that doesn't really care for guns.
You're not even close to being alone in that. But you also don't want to restrict other people's ability to have them if they wish. But
my dad, my biological father joined the NRA. I mean, before it was like not a place to be. Because he believes in gun rights, but he's never owned a gun in his life. And will never have one in his house. So, that's not unusual, but I support you.
I'm a weird cross between like redneck libertarian and not a big firearms fan. Just not that I dislike them, but just not a fan.
And that's totally cool, and that is your right. Yeah.
Right.
So, which of the following are elements of President Biden's forthcoming plan to transform the country's economy? Choose 3.
Oh dear.
Expand Medicare eligibility to younger Americans, extend the per-child payments to most families, funding of roads, bridges, energy-efficient houses, and electric cars, money to establish a colony on the moon, and universal pre-kindergarten and funding for community colleges.
Somebody told me recently that I was going to be getting like thousands of dollars a month because of all the kids. Brent and I both have 4 kids. And so I was like, oh yeah, let's have another one. So I think that is one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just read about that.
And the roads, bridges, and that stuff, the infrastructure stuff, I think was a part of it.
Yeah, because Pete Buttigieg, the new transportation secretary, has been doing the talk show circuit.
Yeah. I mean, the bridges are in terrible shape, but
but there's other solutions for that.
Thousands of other solutions.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least 2 other solutions.
And then he's always talking about universal pre-kindergarten and funding for community colleges. So,
and his wife teaches at a community college, right?
Right, exactly. So I think that's going to be one as well. Do we agree all? Do we all agree on these 3?
I think so.
Pretty much.
And we're right.
Well done.
All right. I wish it was to establish a colony on the moon, but I know.
I was just thinking, please, man, please, and let Biden just be on the flagship there.
It ain't gonna happen. But hey, I mean, with all the problems that are plaguing Artemis, which is the most likely last NASA rocket, it's all going to be up to SpaceX and to Virgin Galactic and all the other private industry that's going to actually establish the colony on the moon. So, private industry to the rescue. Okay, next question. A public demonstration of Thomas Edison's phonograph took place 143 years ago this week. What song did it feature a recording of? Aaron Copland's Fanfare for the Common Man, Duke Ellington's Black and Tan Fantasy, Mary Had a Little Lamb, Itsy Bitsy Spider, or the Star Spangled Banner?
I want to say it's the Itsy Bitsy Spider.
I was torn between that and Mary Had a Little Lamb because it was like a kid's song.
It definitely was a kid's song.
The answer is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, I want to hear your guys' opinion, but
Aaron Copland and Duke Ellington lived later than that.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You can cross those out.
So it couldn't be those guys.
It was actually his wife's voice, and she was more speaking than singing, but it was Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Cool.
Hey, 143 years ago. That's not even that long ago, really.
No.
It's all relative.
Actually, they went back. The original recording's owned by the Smithsonian now. And if you ever see the movie The Current Wars, which is all about Tesla and Edison fighting it out between AC and DC, they actually went back to the Smithsonian and got the original recording and played it in the movie. It's actually really cool.
That's neat.
Approximately what percentage of Americans have received at least one vaccine shot? 1%, 5%, 10%, 25%, or 50%?
10?
I think it's more than that.
Yeah, it's got to be.
I think it's 20. Yeah, I was going to say 25.
Yeah, I was going to say 25 myself.
17% of New Hampshire is fully vaccinated. 23% of Cape Cod is fully vaccinated. So yeah, you're right. I'm a dummy.
And this is at least one shot. So fully vaccinated would mean that they've had two.
Yeah.
So 25%?
Yeah. Hey.
That's right.
This is not as bad as I thought, guys.
Good. Yeah, well.
It's super fun. I hate the maps though. Oh god.
And I love the maps. But I'm a geographic nut. So yeah. The map below concerns the coronavirus. What is it showing? Countries where the B117 variant is spreading. Countries with fewer than 100 COVID deaths. Countries with no reported vaccinations. Or countries with there's 5 choices here. Countries with the fastest growing rates of infections in the past month, and countries with the slowest growing rates of infections in the past month. And then these are the countries that are highlighted.
Okay, so is that like the Dominican Republic and Haiti underneath there?
Cuba and Haiti. You have North Korea highlighted.
I'm gonna go with no vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. No vaccines.
I have
None
no clue.
reported in there. Yeah, it seems like.
Hey.
Yep. And it makes sense because a lot of these are shut down countries, or they have trade blockades or whatever. So their access to vaccines are going to be extremely light.
Bankrupt governments.
Or they have bankrupt governments that can't actually get vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, a lot of this is the Western, the Western world is buying most of the vaccine. I mean, the United States is offering 125% of the value of the vaccine, the highest out of any country. So, I mean, which I think is disgusting. I got my vaccine today, and actually I offered to pay for the vaccine, and they looked at me like I had 10 heads.
Yeah. Most of these places wouldn't have a clue how much the vaccine would even be.
Right.
Yeah.
The average cost of a corona vaccine is $100.
Jeez. I mean, and we're paying $125.
We're paying $125 per dose.
Okay.
Yeah. The AstraZeneca, which is not legal in the United States, is approximately $70. It's actually the cheapest one out of all of them. So back to the quiz. People have been protesting this week across cities in England. What are they protesting about? A bill granting the police more powers to handle non-violent demonstrations. A new lockdown that closed all pubs and restaurants. The consequences of Brexit on trade in the country. The handling by the police of a recent murder case in London, or the resignation of Prime Minister Boris Johnson over his handling of the pandemic. Well, are there any that we can immediately cross off? Well, yeah, Boris Johnson did not resign.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can say that's not the answer.
Yeah.
Could it be?
I don't think it's anything about Brexit either, because
because Brexit is actually turning around the British economy. Now that Brexit is official, trade documents are now filed with the EU. The British pound is actually going up considerably, and it's actually creating a better life for a lot of the retirees in England. So, yeah. So that leaves us 3 left.
People are saying lockdowns. I'm going to agree. I think I would throw fireworks if we had new lockdowns.
And I'm thinking that I think I read something. I think I read the headline to something, but I didn't dig into it, so I might be completely wrong. But I'm thinking it might be a bill granting police more power. But this is the British. Locking down pubs and restaurants may cause violence. I'm sorry.
Well, they keep doing it too. It's like they reopen everything and then they lock it down again, and then they reopen it and then they lock it down again. And it's like, just
So I think these two are going to be our top answers.
So the second one would be sort of the I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
Falling down British version.
That's right.
And yeah. So we're going to go with new lockdowns?
Maybe, yeah. Whatever. I don't know. No clue.
God, we always should listen to you, Jesus.
Hey, I wasn't even sure. I thought I may have seen a headline about it. I was not. I was easily swayed because I had not.
All right, well, what was it? Because I can't see on the screen.
A bill granting the police more power to handle nonviolent demonstrations.
Lobby.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're going to be given more gear and stuff like that. If I remember
They're
right.
outlawed there. They haven't. You can't buy like a steak knife at a store.
Right.
How much power do they need?
There was actually so there were children's fork and knife sets with a bowl, and they all had cartoon characters on them, and it caused an uproar in the country because the knife that was included with this children's utensil set that had cartoon characters it did not meet the sharpness or it exceeded the sharpness that was allowed on a knife. And you actually have to have special carrying cases if you're a chef to transport your knives from home to work. Yeah,
What about,
it's ridiculous.
It's wild.
Yeah, no. They have knife turn-in bins where there's no questions asked, knife turn-ins. Yeah, it's next level over there.
If stabbings are your problem, like you
they're a huge problem.
Yeah,
stabbings are a huge problem.
That's I mean, that's saying a lot about your society too. Like you don't trust anybody now. Like they're resorting to stabbing people. Like, sorry.
Yep. Clubbings and stabbings are actually the leading causes of death in England.
It's almost like guns don't just go out and kill people. It's almost like the answer to violence is not to try and disarm people, because we will find a way to do awful things to each other.
Oh, it's amazing that you say that. It's like light bulbs just going off there.
Just insane. Oh dear.
What is pictured in this photo? I think we all know what's pictured in this photo.
Yes.
Is it a 1,300-foot container ship stuck in the Suez Canal in Egypt, blocking one of the most important maritime arteries? I think it is. Yep. It's a photo of the Ever Given.
I feel bad for people trying to get dishwashers now because of coronavirus, everything was shut down when we bought our house and we needed a dishwasher and a washer and dryer. And it was like months, right? And now this is happening again. And it's like they just started getting production back up and all this stuff is stuck and like everything behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Friggin' crazy. What were they doing? Why were they trying to turn around in the Suez Canal?
No, they didn't try to turn around.
I don't watch the news.
The wind actually caught it because there's so much surface area right over here, and the pilot was a junior and didn't account for windage as coming through the Suez Canal, and lost control and got himself stuck.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of physics at play there. Ken Armstrong explains it really well, but there's a lot of physics at play there. That's actually coming from someone from the boating community. That is not all that hard to do, and I'm kind of surprised it doesn't happen more often.
Yeah.
Clearly, I don't pay attention to.
And the crosswinds through the Suez Canal can easily reach over 70 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
Do you not have your tonnage license, Valerie? Is that?
Listen, I don't want to
I
waste.
thought that was pretty common.
I don't want to waste time on this, but my husband, I don't even want him to know that you're doing. I mean, I told him that you were doing this boat thing. He was like, "We're going to sail around the world on a sailboat," and I was like, "We've been together for 16 years, and I've never once seen you sail a boat anywhere. And I'm not going to get on a boat with you to go around the world with my family and die. Like, I'm not doing that." And he was like, "I have a sailing license." Like I said, we've been together for 16 years. I've never seen him drive a boat. Not even like my dad has a pontoon boat. Never seen him do that. And he's like pulls this thing out from 1994 from a one-day sailing class that he did in the Annapolis Harbor. And he's like, "See, I can do this." I'm like, "That's not a license. You passed like a 6-hour sailboat class." So if anybody wants to dunk on my husband, that's what you should be dunking on him for. He's going to murder his entire family by taking us around the world on a boat. So
You sound like my wife about this boat thing. It took me a while to talk her into it. You'll get there.
your idea is totally safe because it's like enclosed up rivers across lakes and then down
No. Let's be clear just real quick. The boat that I'm taking is meant for lakes. This is not a deep water boat. Yeah. This is a terrible idea. I'm with Nick. Just do it. It'll be fun.
be like
It's an adventure.
I just
my
have
new
a
best
picture
friend
of,
is a volleyball.
I just have a picture of Brent trying to shoot the rapids in a houseboat now.
Yeah, it's that boat draws about 1.5 feet. Most people aren't going to know what I'm saying, but the boaters out there, that boat only draws about 1.5 feet of water as it sits.
Wow.
I'm going into the Gulf. It's going to be fun.
Stay close to the shore.
Wait, you're actually going to exit the intercoastal?
Yeah. I'm going into the Gulf. My wife and children won't be on the boat while I'm in the Gulf. They'll be driving from.
God.
But
God.
I'm strapping myself to the bow, buddy. I am tying myself to the bow and hitting the open ocean in what amounts to a floating block.
I mean, do you at least have a drop keel that you can?
Have you seen Kon-Tiki?
No.
You should probably watch Kon-Tiki.
You have a death wish, sir.
It's gonna be fun. Nah, it'll be all right.
Okay.
I'll wait till it's a pretty day.
I will trust you on that. Okay.
Get a GoPro.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. 1.5 foot draft going into the Gulf. I like it. There's cojones there.
Us libertarians are gutsy.
That's true. Yeah. Or stupid. I don't know. For only the second time, a number 15 seed in the NCAA men's basketball tournament has made it through to the Sweet 16. What school is it?
Oh, I know
College,
this.
Gonzaga,
I was going to say Laura knows this.
Grand Canyon University, Oral Roberts University, or UC Sunnydale.
Oral Roberts, isn't it?
If you say so.
I'm pretty sure.
I've already admitted that
Yes!
I'm a sad North Carolinian because I do not follow basketball.
I'm like depending on what Baylor does, I'm in pretty good shape in my office pool. So
There you go.
yeah.
Oh my God, somebody pointed out incorrectly that 1996 was 27 years ago. That's not right, is it? No.
1996?
Or yeah, whenever Nick had his sailing.
Yeah, it is.
It's an incredibly offensive thing to say.
Yeah.
Not right.
It's just yesterday, but yeah.
10 years ago.
10.
What jerk said that? Do you have a screenshot of that?
David Davis. That was 27 years ago. You're incorrect, sir.
You're a terrible person.
Which social media platform helped boost book sales in the past year with videos of users reading and recommending and crying over books? Was it Discord, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, or Twitter?
I bet it's TikTok.
I would agree with you. I think it's TikTok.
Nobody uses
That sounds
Snapchat.
like a TikTok thing.
I don't really understand TikTok, so I'll take.
Please,
your word
God,
for it.
let me get this right. If I get this right, you're deleting those boomer groups.
Yay!
Yeah,
You
that's
are
right.
right there. You have shucked the mantle of boomer.
That's right.
For at least the next 5 minutes.
Whatever. I'll take what I can get.
And then the last question, who is this? Is it Gina Raimondo, Isabel Guzman, Janet Yellen, Jennifer Granholm, or Megan Rapinoe?
They always use Yellen as an answer, and so we
And
know
it's
that's
never
not
her.
her.
It's such a small screen. I have no idea.
Well, she works at the White House.
Well, I don't like
Has
it.
purple hair.
Megan Rapinoe.
Was that a guess?
Okay.
Is that a guess?
I was reading the two answers. One said
Yeah,
Megan.
okay.
So we're going Megan Rapinoe?
Yes.
You're
Oh, we-
right.
There we go.
Oh, we are smart.
Yeah, so smart.
Yep, she is a player on the United States women's soccer team and spoke at an event in the White House for Equal Pay Day. Rapinoe has been a vocal advocate for female athletes to be paid the same amount as male athletes.
That's how I knew that name. Yes.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Congratulations, you finished the quiz. Your raw score is 10 out of 11. Your relative score is 86, which means that you did better than or as well as 86% of New York Times readers.
Genius.
We are smart.
We're really
S-M-O-R-T.
Well done.
But we are now to the point where we're wrapping up. Do we have any final announcements? Anything that's going on that we want to plug one more time? Brent, I'm going to get your ticker back up there, Liberty Coalition DR at facebook.com. Great organization, grassroots libertarian, working hard right there. Please support it. It's great stuff.
And Brent, does your boat tour have a Facebook page or a website that people should follow?
It does. I don't have it here in front of me, and I'm terrible about it. So just check us out at We Sell Liberty on Facebook. If you want to learn more about messaging or how to do outreach or how to apply sales and marketing techniques to your outreach, or if you want to have training done for your affiliate, have us travel out and help with an event, I'd be happy to help you out. Just let me know. Doesn't cost you anything. And if you have questions, there we are.
I will also share that from my Facebook page as the chairperson of the Affiliate Support Committee. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
And I will get that right up as well. There we go.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Laura, do you have anything going on in the next week or two?
I'm going to be in Fort Lauderdale next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, for the Association of Private Enterprise Education, which is an organization that focuses mostly on students. But I'm going to be participating in a panel on how think tanks and academic institutions can relate to legislators. So I was invited to go to that. Yeah, so I'm kind of excited. Sort
Good
of.
time of year.
It's a nice
Sounds
time
really
of year, and it's fun now that I'm vaccinated and more people are vaccinated. Everybody feels a little more comfortable heading out. I had several conferences last year that were canceled at the last minute, so I'm pretty excited to
Is
get
your
on
room
the road again.
queen beds or a king?
What's that? I've got a king bed.
Oh, okay. I'll stay home.
Valerie, you got anything going on in the next week or two?
Not that I can think of. I mean, affiliate support's doing great. We hit our 50% goal for the year yesterday in the first 3 months. And so now it's time to spend that money and then start raising the next half. So
Very
Well
good.
done.
thank you.
The next state
I tried.
convention that I will be at is going to be West Virginia, and that's going to be April 16th. So that's 3 weeks away. But Yeah, no, that's the next one that I'm going to be at. And of course, every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're doing Libertarians at Large. Brent, any last words before we say goodnight to everybody?
Yeah, I totally failed to give a shout out to the Libertarian Party of Tennessee. Speaking of Cell Liberty, I was contacted about doing an event out there, and on May 8th, if you want to drive out, it'll be worth the drive. Murfreesboro, right outside of Nashville. They're going to be feeding the homeless in the morning. We're going to do a training event for door knocking and outreach, and then we'll be doing a door knocking event later on that afternoon, I believe. But congrats to the Libertarian Party of Tennessee for making big boss moves like that, and I appreciate you letting me be a part of it.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, again, that brings us to the end of our program tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you here again next week as we talk about the news around the world with a libertarian point of view. Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks.